What's up, losers? Today I'm back with some more posts from r/fatlogic to read and react to. This is episode 45 in the fatlogic series. And I'm already fired up to destroy some fat activists with facts and logic. So without further delay, let's get into it.
They even said the slur.
Okay, so I know this post is absolutely tiny, but I do have a few things to say about the idea that obese is a slur, so I thought I might as well include the post as a jumping off point for sharing my thoughts. First off, this probably goes without saying, but I do not consider obese to be a slur, and I find the suggestion that it is a little silly, if I'm being honest. Obesity is a real condition that is widely recognized in the medical community. To describe someone as obese is, in a strictly literal sense, to identify them as having the condition of obesity, and nothing more. When it comes to slurs, I recognize that looking only at the literal meaning of a word is insufficient. The intent is also important. And in this respect, I can see where those who dub obese a slur might be coming from. The word is, sadly, often used in a way that is cruel and detached from any real medical context. The reason why this doesn't make obese a slur, however, is that the medical reality of obesity does not disappear as a result of a few people weaponizing the word. You can't just get rid of a word because people might use it to do harm. Because if you did that, you would have to get rid of language altogether. As an example, let's consider the word alcoholic. Alcoholism is a real and devastating condition that many people deal with, but it's also socially stigmatized. And as a result, people may use the word alcoholic, not merely to describe someone with a drinking problem, but to hurt, shame, or dismiss them, based on the embarrassing and destructive behaviors that people associate with having that problem. To link this back in with obesity, should we encourage people to use words like alcoholic and obese as weapons with which to wound those they might dislike? Absolutely not. But should we get rid of the words altogether? Again, absolutely not. Obese people and alcoholics exist. They have real problems, and stripping them of the language that they can use to describe these problems is not going to do them any favors. We don't have to choose between being kind and being honest. We can do both. We just have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. On a somewhat related note, I find it exceedingly interesting how the fat acceptance community so vehemently rejects the term obese, while embracing the word fat, because I think if you asked most people outside of the community which of the two words is more derogatory, they would say fat. Where obese is primarily a medical term that is sometimes used to insult people, fat is, at least in the common vernacular, a primarily derogatory term in most cases. When people call themselves, or someone else, fat, they are going to be doing so with the intent of hurting them. More often than not. I think the reason for this preference for fat over obese, in spite of the former being more commonly used as an insult, is pretty obvious when we consider the haze ideology that most fat activists seem to subscribe to. It is precisely because obese is a medical term that it is so threatening to them. Fat activists can accept having people verbally abuse fat people, because it feeds right into their narrative of fat victimization. What they can't tolerate is the recognition that the medical condition of obesity is very real and very dangerous. Because if fat people truly internalize what being obese means to their health prospects, they won't be able to sustain their blissful denial any longer, and the whole house of cards will fall in on itself, and the fat activists can't have that. Can they? Because then who would remain to read their blogs? watch their TikToks, and buy their books. It would truly be a fatageddon. Holy moly, I went on for ages about that one. I can't believe I rambled on for so long about a 6-word post. Not gonna lie, I'm a little impressed with myself. But anyway, on to the next post.
And compared to my experience 20 years ago, things do seem slightly better. At least in my bubble. Nobody said anything rude or backhanded to me. I'm an adult now, and there are fewer bullies to hurl fountain drinks at my head. Everybody raved over my pink power suit, which I wouldn't even have been able to wear 20 years ago. Because hardly anybody sold plus-size clothing.
Well, I don't really have much to say to this one other than it's nice. I'm glad to hear that people are becoming more sensitive and are less inclined to bully or make fun of fat people. As much as I think obesity is a serious issue, and one that needs to be addressed, I don't think pointless mockery does much good in this regard. If anything, it probably makes people more likely to sink deeper into self-pity and blame society for their problems. So yeah, don't be an asshole, guys. It's not helping anyone. And as for the availability of plus-size clothing, I guess I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, I'm glad fat people can find something to wear that they are comfortable in. But I do worry that by making it easier to get by as a fat person, and accommodating larger and larger body sizes, society might be normalizing obesity, and making people feel that they don't need to lose weight, which is obviously far from ideal. I guess the best we can do is continue to raise awareness about the dangers of obesity, the benefits of weight loss for obese people, and the best ways to go about losing weight in a healthy manner. That way, even if fat people are provided for in terms of clothing sizes and whatnot, they will still see the necessity of weight loss and feel confident in undertaking an appropriate diet plan.
I don't retweet pics of skinny people. Y'all look unhealthy, and that should not be normalized.
Haha, you've got to be kidding me. The hypocrisy here is astounding. After all the talk of body positivity and diverse representation of bodies, the mask finally comes off. It was never really about body positivity, was it? It was about fat positivity. Skinny bodies not welcome, if nothing else. I can appreciate the honesty, I guess, belated though it may be. As for the actual substance of saying skinny people look unhealthy, yeah, not really. Sure, some small percentage of skinny people who are severely underweight might look unhealthy, though, not for nothing. They don't deserve to be shamed for it. But I'm willing to bet that the quote-unquote skinny people this post is referring to include people who are within a perfectly healthy weight range. Because if there's one thing fat activists can't seem to get their heads around, it's what constitutes a healthy or normal weight. I find this push to associate all non-fat bodies with sickly underweightness really pernicious, because it only serves to normalize obesity and demonize weight loss, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, isn't going to do anyone any good. Not everyone who diets, or isn't fat, has a restrictive eating disorder. And I'm sick of seeing people conflate these things to promote their fat acceptance agenda. Like seriously, just stop. It's pretty eye-opening, and not in a good way, to see how far people will go to avoid having to deal with their own issues. Even when it means casting aside the very ideals, e.g. body positivity, that they themselves claim to hold dear. Like, is it really worth shaming all thin people, and trying to get other people to convert to your unhealthy lifestyle, just so that you don't have to admit that you have an eating problem? I don't know, man. Maybe I'll just never understand these people. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the posts and my commentary, even if I did get a little long-winded in parts, haha. What do you think? Is obese a slur? Is the proliferation of increasingly large plus-size clothing a net positive or a net negative for society? Do skinny people all look unhealthy? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Oral whole fountain drinks at your head next time you wear your pink power suit. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.